here to talk to you about some very interesting stuff. So, my passion is wellness and beauty reviews. And so each week I bring you wellness topics and beauty reviews, and I have fun doing it. This week I've got another expert here to talk about our subject, which is mindful living. So, this is Denise. Hi, Denise.
Hi, happy Saturday.
You too. So this is a longtime friend. So, Denise, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Denise Clay. I am a licensed mental health counselor. I live in the Austin area and I have a group practice in Austin called Nala Counseling and Wellness. As well, I have a full time practice in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's full time too. So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
I'm pretty busy. Yeah, so
Got
that's
a couple
that's
things going on there. So,
yes, yes.
one thing I added on the bottom of the screen is your contact, but because this will become an
Okay.
audio
Mhm.
podcast, I'm going to say it. So, it's on Instagram, it's at Nala Counseling. That's Nala. And her website is nalacounselingwellness.com. So I'll mention it again at the end so I make sure people the podcast can hear it at the end if they need to.
Mhm.
So let me tell you what I know about Denise. Phenomenal gossip. She is a kind soul. We have been friends for probably almost 30 years
Mhm.
because my child wasn't even born when I met you.
Right.
So my child is 27, she'll be 28 in January. So really, we're almost 30 years that we've been friends, and we don't
Yes.
always talk because we're so far apart.
Yeah.
But when we do, it's like we never missed a beat.
Never skipped a beat. Never skipped a beat.
No.
It's like old times.
Yes, and you're so supportive, so kind. I think I get more out of the relationship than you do, but
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
but definitely a supporter of people and kind.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
right now we have no viewers yet, so it's okay because, like I said, most people see this on replay anyway because
Okay.
it's not always the best time for them. It's good
Right,
for
right.
me because I'm in Hawaii, and
Okay.
I do go on my time because if I go later, then it's going to get even later over there for you all. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what are we talking about? Can I call?
Oh, we're talking about mindful living.
That's
Mindful
right.
living. My favorite topic. So hard to practice sometimes, but it's
It
so
is.
important. So
It
important.
is.
So,
I'm so
yeah.
looking forward to this because I would like to be more mindful in my living. So go ahead,
Mhm.
tell us what mindful living is.
Well, the concept of mindful living is living with awareness in the present moment. It is trying to not live in our heads so
Mm,
much,
mhm.
which a lot of us do, right? Just everyday stress and worries. And then when we compound that with circumstances and events that happen in life, right? That mind becomes sort of like that hamster on the wheel, right?
Yeah,
So one thought becomes another, and God forbid if it's a negative thought, that it's
yes.
one negative thought after the other, and sometimes it just becomes very cyclical, and it's hard to get off of that hamster wheel. So
Mhm.
that's why I love the idea of mindfulness because it forces us to be aware of where we are in the present
Mm,
moment. It teaches us how to respond versus react because
yeah,
there is a very big difference between reacting and responding. And one of the analogies I like to use with my clients is let's say that you're hurt and you call 911, right? The ambulance gets there, the paramedics are there. You don't want them to show up and to react to
right,
whatever trauma or what the event may be that they're facing. You
right,
want them to be calm, cool, collected, and to be the expert and to respond to the situation.
right.
So I feel like why should we not be able to respond to ourselves, our own matters in that same way? It's
Mhm.
therapeutic. it is important to take that step back and to gather yourself and to become calm before sometimes we make decisions or say things.
Right.
So, for me, on a personal note, when I first moved to New Mexico, I had gone to the doctor just for my annual visit and to get some labs done. And, the doctor was diagnosing me with pre diabetic, pre
Yeah.
hypertension. It's like it had come out of nowhere.
Nowhere.
I knew that I had gone through some life transitions at that time, just moving, having three young kids.
Mhm.
It was a lot. So anyhow, I took the high blood pressure medicine, hated it. It didn't work well for me. Went on something different, did that for a while, and then I just, I felt like it was more stress induced because there was
Mhm.
nothing that the doctor could contribute to what was going on other than genetics. Um, and so I felt like I was stressed out,
Yes.
So at
Yeah.
that period in time, I discovered yoga and started going to yoga very, very consistently. And so I've been practicing yoga, I guess it's been 18, 19 years now. I fell in love with it. I
Wow.
became a certified yoga instructor, and not to, necessarily teach in a classroom setting, but to be able to take that experience, that expertise, that knowledge back to my clients.
Right.
And there were particular clients I actually did yoga with. We would push the chairs back, move the furniture in the office before they came in. And I just made like a little yoga studio. And I'd ask them to bring their mat in, and we would sit and have tea or coffee and do yoga. And that was part of our session. And a lot
Wow.
of my clients benefited from that. And so, I felt like I have a testimony, right? It's a real life story.
Yeah.
And that for me is where mindfulness, not just in my personal life, but even in my professional life at that point, became really, really important.
Right.
Um, so, so yeah, I know I'm talking a lot. So,
No, keep
jump in if you have any questions. That,
you
that,
are the
that
expert. I do have
okay,
a question.
okay.
I have a question about, what are the tools for mindfulness besides yoga? Is there
Okay.
others?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There are various tools, and a few of which uh, would be even just our daily lifestyle. Say, for
Mhm.
instance, you're cooking a meal. So I'll give you an example. That's probably the
Okay.
better way to explain it. You're cooking a meal, and let's say you're making chicken and vegetables, right? So, in practicing mindfulness, you're very aware of kind of closing things out that are surrounding you, right? The noises in your home. So maybe you're mindfully opening the refrigerator. You're taking the package of chicken out, right? You're opening the package. You smell the chicken, right? You're placing your pan right on the stove, or if you're going to put it in the oven, your dish, right? Maybe you're adding a little oil and garlic, and I'm giving recipes now,
Yeah.
oil and garlic and onions, right? And you
Yeah.
place your chicken, in the pan. You're looking at the onions, you're looking at the garlic, you're being very methodical
Mhm.
and mindful and present in what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
Chopping the vegetables, you hear the sound, the crunch of the vegetables that you're chopping, right? You see the colors of the vegetables that you're making. So the idea of mindfulness is really attempting to shut that noise out that
Yeah.
surrounds us, and kind of like put those blinders on and be right here, be present in the experience. And
It
so, mhm,
I was gonna say, it kinda sounds a little bit like you're almost distracting yourself from the negative.
mhm,
Like, all that negative that goes on, and not just the noise in the room is negative, but,
right.
like, those thoughts in your mind where you're going down that rabbit hole of whatever it
Yes,
is, but at the
yes.
same time, if you're focused, you can't do that when you're focused on what you're doing and
Exactly.
being mindful.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of mindfulness. There is very fine line between being distracted and avoiding. And
Right.
sometimes we avoid things, right? I don't want to think about it. I don't even
Right.
want to go there. I
Yeah.
just can't even deal with that. And then
Yeah.
there is, let me put this on the shelf right now because
Mhm.
it's very highly charged. I'm feeling really emotional about this thing, but I
Mhm.
need to handle it. I need to handle the situation or the circumstance or whatever it
Right.
is that's going on in your mind. But maybe we take that and just put that on the shelf for a
Mhm.
moment and go distract. So I'm going to go distract by washing the dishes,
Right.
making the meal, doing
Mhm.
a load of laundry. So it's same a different example, same
Mhm.
concept, washing the dishes, right? Maybe you're filling the sink up with dishwater, right? You feel the warmth of the warm water. You add
Mhm.
the soap, you see the bubbles, you can feel the bubbles and the warmth of the water on your hand. You're mindful as you're washing the dish, right? Maybe just taking
Mhm.
your time, slowing down, breathing. Mindfulness is it's in a sense it's meditation. And
Mhm.
so sometimes we think that meditation is, sitting crisscross
Right.
applesauce and our
Right.
eyes are closed and we're meditating, and
Yeah.
that is a form of meditating.
Yeah.
But there are different forms of meditation, such as walking. When
Mhm.
you're walking, carefully, safely, keep your head up. What do you see as you walk? What leaves do we see on the trees? The different colors, the feel of the wind on our face against our skin, the sun on our face, right? So it allows us to, I don't want to necessarily say escape, but in essence, escape sometimes all of
Mhm.
that chatter that's going on in our head and brings us to a place of just peace. And
Right.
when we can get to that place of peace and calm, then we can re-engage and respond with that chatter that's been going on in our
Mhm.
heads, right? How do I need to handle this? Let me sit and think about this a little bit more. Let me not respond, but let me react. So mindfulness is it's a wonderful distraction. It is
Right.
a great coping tool and skill that takes time to learn, but it is what I practice with my clients. It's what I teach them. Is how to live mindfully so that we're just a little more peaceful in our everyday
Mhm.
life.
2 things.
Mhm,
1, when we're talking about cooking, I kept thinking about one thing.
mhm.
I just gotta say this. You make the best spaghetti, and every time I make spaghetti, I got my spatula at the meat, and I'm trying to make it like you, and I literally think about you every time I make spaghetti because of that.
Oh, and you know what's so funny? A lot of people love my spaghetti,
Yeah.
but I'm not such a big fan of it. I think because I made it so much when my kids were growing up, I get requests for it, but thank you. Yeah, I can give you the recipe.
Okay, and before we go to what, my cousin Berlin said, let's go to this.
Okay.
Some people, and I know I'm one of those, but I used to have clients that were that way too.
Mhm,
Whenever we do like guided imagery or breathing exercises,
mhm,
they had a hard time just closing their eyes and being in the
mhm,
moment.
mhm,
And I like how you explain it's not just that because
mhm,
I'm trying to get there where I can just close my eyes and meditate, but I have so many things going on and trying to
mhm,
clear that space in my head. And
mhm,
because my whole point is I want to hear God. I want to hear what he's telling me to do with the
mhm,
Lord. What is most
mhm.
important? But I have trouble calming my mind and I have so many things going on.
Yeah.
And so I like how you put that, how we can be
Mhm.
mindful just when we're moving around and how it's
Yeah.
helpful for us. So Verlene says she guess she's weird. She can get things done
No.
with all the noise going on around her. But I think this is a little bit different than getting something done. Although you got to get it done, you got to cook, whatever,
Mhm,
whatever.
mhm. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
about the mindset when you're getting it done, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it's not weird at all. There are a lot of
Yeah,
people that it kind of
yeah,
need that
yeah,
sort of white noise,
Yes.
whatever
Yes.
that may be. That helps with focus. But yeah, it's more so about the mindset. Even though that chatter is going on,
Yeah.
where are you? Where are you mindfully? How are you responding to the environment? And if
Mhm.
that doesn't affect you, then that's wonderful,
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great thing.
Absolutely. Right. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we have those the neurotransmitters in our brain. So, the dopamine and the serotonin, when we are actively engaging, cooking dinner, walking, listening to television, those sorts of things, it creates that feel good for
Yeah.
us,
Mhm.
when we can focus on that and
Yeah.
not be so distracted with everything that's going on around us.
Right. Right.
And like you mentioned, just with movement, just there are studies that show, just 20 minutes of just a simple walk helps to elevate the mood,
Yeah.
reduces depression and anxiety. So
Mhm.
just the act of moving and moving mindfully is important for our mental health as well too.
Right.
Yeah, there are so many ways to practice mindfulness. It's very vast. It's not, just that one thing, like you said, trying to, sit in silence. And
Yeah.
I suggest with that, when one is unable to meditate in that way, where it's just totally silent, to use guided meditation. There are so many
Yeah.
YouTube videos and
Mhm.
apps, and all kinds of things. You can sit near a window and look
Mhm.
outside, and
Right.
that's mindfulness meditation, right?
Okay.
It's just the act of trying to still the mind a little bit and trying to
Mhm.
quiet the mind a little. And it takes time. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of practice. It's not
Right.
easy to do, because I think that we have been, um, kind of conditioned and programmed to be busy and to be on the go, and we have a lot to do, especially when we
Mhm.
have roles. And I can see there, are women here with us, especially, as women, as mothers, as sisters, as daughters, right? We wear all these hats.
Mhm.
So, who has time to sit and get quiet?
Right.
That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So, so to practice, to try to, condition your mind, to thinking a little differently about that, and
Mm.
getting accustomed to my self-care. What do I need to do to slow down a little bit, so to speak, and enjoy the things that I'm participating in
Right.
life. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's really good.
Mhm,
I know
mhm,
that, having a job, having a side biz, and right now I have 2. There's
mm,
this and another one,
okay.
um, but having it on and family, friends, and people
Mhm,
getting at you here, and some things you have to take because it's
mhm.
business, right?
Right, right.
And
Mhm.
keep that mind just going,
Right.
going.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But it's carving out the time, and even those
yeah.
activities that you talk about,
Mhm.
even let's say in conversation, right? People are calling you. We were just talking about that
Yeah,
before
we were.
coming on, right?
Yeah,
People are calling you,
yeah.
and sometimes it's a matter of just listening. That's being
Mhm,
mindful. A lot
mhm.
of times when we have conversations with someone, we're already thinking about how we're going to respond,
Yeah.
what we
Mhm.
need to say, or what we need to do to help, when sometimes we just need to listen.
Yeah.
And if we listen, we're still engaged, we're still participating, but we're
Mhm,
being mindful in doing
mhm.
so. So there's so many activities, so many things that we do naturally that we bring mindfulness
Mhm.
into play, and going back as well to what you were talking about, wanting to dedicate and spend that time with God, and to really have that conversation. I think that waking up early is a beautiful, beautiful time of the day. It's one of my favorite,
Mm,
but that opportunity to be able to get to see the sunrise,
mm.
the world still feels like it's asleep, in
Yeah,
a sense,
yeah.
in some ways. So
Quiet.
there's quiet. Yes, there's
Mm,
quietness that you can engage with, and before you get the day going and hit the
Yeah,
ground running, and then your
yeah,
mind is going right
yes,
30 miles
agreed.
an hour. But sometimes it's just a small practice of saying, let me just stop for a moment and
Mhm.
take a deep breath and breathe in and
Yeah,
breathe out and just calm. And if you can only do that for a minute or two in your day, you're still being mindful.
mhm,
You're still reducing some of that
mhm,
angst and that on the go stuff.
yeah. And I kind of, well, I don't feel like I believe, and I don't wanna get too religious here,
Mhm,
um, but I believe when you do that, if that's your focus like mine, and you
mhm,
do it in the morning, you get it first, you're giving that priority to it
mhm,
and taking care of it, and you can do it throughout the day, but you gave that moment with God the priority and be able
mhm,
to do that. But that's just
mhm,
me.
mhm.
Y'all believe and do what you wanna do, but that's just me, and I do that, but, I want to just sit. I wanna be able to just sit and just listen for him
Mhm, mhm,
and talk
mhm,
with him, her, whatever,
mhm,
whatever you
mhm,
believe. I wanna
mhm.
be able to do that, and so been working on that.
Okay. Well, I think that mindfulness is perfect for
Perfect for that.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in yoga we talk about setting an intention, creating an intention, and that is sort of what my morning regimen looks
Mm.
like. And I'm one of those people. Unfortunately, I wake up earlier than what I
Yeah.
want to, and it's not getting any better as I get older.
No, I think that's a part of it, age. You just
Yeah.
not sleeping you can't do that old sleeping to 10 o'clock.
Oh no,
No,
ma'am. No, no. I've not done that in years. 5 o'clock
no.
on the dot. It's done. The day
Yeah,
has begun.
yeah,
But that does, it gives me an opportunity to have that silence, to have that peace. But I have to be mindful in that,
yeah,
right? Not getting up immediately and checking my phone,
yeah,
turning the TV
yes,
on,
yes,
starting a load of laundry, like let me get the day
yeah,
started. No, it's really dedicating that time to, I'm going to take my yoga mat out. I'm going to put it on the ground. I'm going to grab a cup of tea, and I'm going to sit and be still and
yeah,
pray and meditate, do
mhm,
my movement, my yoga, whatever
yeah,
that is that, anyone prefers to do, and
mhm,
ground myself and
yeah,
set my intention for the day, maybe
mhm,
by saying something like, I will be peaceful
yeah,
today. And
yeah,
I maintain that throughout my day. Like you said, you can
mhm.
always go back to that, right? You can always go back to that prayer. You can always go back to that intention through the day. And Lord knows sometimes we need to.
We
Something
need it,
happens
right?
during the day, and I'm like, whew, okay,
Oh,
let
Imma
me
pray
be
for them
peaceful today. Yes, Lord,
because 'cause
help me
I'm not
here.
gonna react.
Exactly. Don't let me
Do the
react.
killing them with kindness. Oh, that's hard.
Yes, sometimes that's necessary. Yes. So
Mhm,
if you've begun your day with that intention and with getting yourself grounded, then that's the core of your day. You can
yeah,
always go back to that when you need it.
yeah.
So yeah.
I was, just thinking about I lived in this apartment a long time ago, and then I moved on to some other places, and I came back to it. So,
Mhm,
one of the things I used to like to do, which I can do again, is I would go out early and have my cup of coffee on the balcony because our
mhm,
street is busy. It's really
mhm,
busy.
mhm,
And so all day long, there's all this noise, but early in the morning, there's nothing. It's so quiet and it's cool. It's not hot in the morning, and I think I wanna go back to that, sitting out there, having my cup of coffee when I
mhm,
wake up, because I wake up really early, of course,
mhm, mhm.
and you really gotta be committed to this stuff when you wanna do it because
Yes.
that phone, especially here, because we're behind everybody, so everybody's going and moving, sending their emails or texts or whatever. You really
Right.
have to, be committed because when you first wake up, there's gonna be a lot there, or, there's a text message, you wanna look at it or whatever. It's not
Mhm.
easy to do.
No.
The only thing
Mhm,
I put ahead of that time is when I have to go to the bathroom. So, I
mhm,
go to the bathroom and then I do. But
mhm,
I put it all aside because,
mhm,
once you start taking the messages and reading the email is
Mhm.
taking your mind in a whole heavier
Yes.
place
Yes.
than you were when you woke up, and it's
Exactly.
more difficult to shut it down,
It
I think.
really is. It absolutely, yeah. Once you engage, it's kind of it. You've got to be able to, like you said, it's a discipline. You have to be
Yeah,
able to say, okay, I answered that one text or that email. I'm
yeah,
putting this down. Let me
mhm,
refocus and go back to being mindful. What did
yes,
I say I was going to do? I'm going to sit on the porch.
right,
I'm going to have that cup of coffee, and
mhm,
it is, and that's just as it is that we create these habits, it's not easy to break
yes,
those
yes,
habits, so it just requires some commitment and
right,
dedication and a little time, but the more
mhm,
you practice, it's like riding a bike. The
yeah,
more you practice, the easier it becomes.
yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to I've
Yeah.
got the furniture out there I could sit on. I
Hmm.
just sit out there and early, soon as I wake up, because I do wake up pretty early.
Hmm. Hmm. You're not the only one.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think, the whole time I was in the military, and then as I became a civilian and had this time I had to be to work, I was always struggling to get up, get it together.
Hmm.
I wanna lay around,
Hmm.
and now I'm older, it's like, I'm up early, waking up, and then the travel, because of course I go to all the different travel time zones, and that
Hmm.
screws
Hmm.
me up too, because by the
Hmm.
time I come back, I'm messed up. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Berlin agrees with us. Yes, it's the age, I agree.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, it's us. Okay, so now it's 9:27. We went way past our 15
Okay.
minutes, but
Okay. Okay.
it's okay because it was a good subject. People can learn from it,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I invite you back sometime
Yeah.
to
Yeah, I
do
would love
another
to.
subject.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And so stay on, don't get off
Okay.
because we'll talk after I end it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And this is Dr. Wilhelmina, and if you found this subject helpful, share it with someone else or share it with a friend and come
Mhm.
back to hear more when I have my next session. I think next week I'm by myself though. Um, and I hope to have another collaboration soon. So join us next week. Take care. And you can always share the podcast with others too, because I'm going to make it a audio podcast as I always do. Take care. Bye. Say bye, Denise. I'm hanging
Bye.
up.